Welcome to Flourish Field Academy. Today I'll teach you how to make a catching game in Scratch in 5 simple steps. In this video I'll show you how to build a fun catching game in Scratch step by step. You'll learn how to move sprites, make objects fall, detect collisions and keep score. Let's get started. Step 1 is to pick a sprite and make it move. I'll use the default sprite here and make it move left and right. Before then, I'm going to add a backdrop. Now pick this backdrop, this wetland. Now to make it move left and right, this is what I mean by that. To make it move right then left, right then left. Now to do that, the first thing I'll go to is to go to motion, the motion category, and pick change X by 10. Then I'll go to control and grab the if then block and add a key right arrow pressed from sensing, key space press first, then we'll change it. Then I'm going to put this inside this side here and change it to right arrow key, and then this change X by 10, I'm going to put it inside here. Now I'm going to go back to events and pick when green flag clicked. Can you see that? Now I'm going to click on this. As you can see, it is just checking it once and we can't control it left and right. So the next thing that we're going to do is to put it inside the forever loop, and I'll come back to control and pick forever and put it inside here. And if I click on this green flag, I see that it's now moving to the right, but it's not moving to the left. So to do that, I'm going to duplicate this, but let me just redo everything again. So in control, I'll pick if then, and go to sensing and pick key space pressed. So what I'm trying to do is to control the left. So what I'm trying to do is when I click on the left arrow key, it should move to the left. As you can see right now, it is, if I drag it to the left, if I press the right arrow key, it is moving to the right, but when I'm pressing the left arrow key on my keyboard, it is not moving. So this new code block that I'm doing is trying to make it move to the left when the left arrow key is pressed. And I'm going to change this to left arrow, then go back to motion and pick change X by, but this time it's going to be in a negative number, so -10, and I'll put it inside here. No, not inside here, or inside like this. Yes, so it is going to be on top of the right arrow and like this. And now when I click on my left arrow key, you can see it is moving to the left, and then the right arrow, it is moving to the right. Now I'm going to add a falling object. Now the falling object I'm going to add is going to be a mouse sprite. So I'll click on choose a sprite, then go down and just quickly look for it. Mouse. Now bring the mouse to the top, then I'm going to change the direction so it is facing downwards. Now to keep the mouse at the top at random position is the first thing we're going to do. And to do that, we're going to go to events. When green flag clicked, that's what we're going to pick here. Go to motion and go to random position. And then the next one now is to pick set Y to. Now your sprite moves in 4 different directions or axes: X and Y. X controls the left and the right, or moves to the left and the right. Y moves to the top and bottom. Now to leave this mouse at the bottom, we're going to set it to 180. and if I should pause this and click on this, you can see that it has changed its position. You can see, so it is just going to be at the top but at random position for every time the game starts. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to make this mouse fall, and to make it fall I'm going to go to events. When green flag clicked, I'm going to go to control and pick forever. I'm going to go to motion and pick change Y by, and if you remember earlier, just right now I said that our mouse moves in 4 different directions: up, down, left, right, but it is controlled by the X and Y. When it moves up, it stays in a positive number, and when it moves down, it stays in a negative number. And likewise, for when it moves to the left, it is a negative number, and when it moves to the right, it is a positive number. The next thing I'm going to do now is pick this change Y by -5. And this moves the object, so I'm going to stop this and play again. Can you see that my mouse came down, but it got stuck there? Do you see that? Now the next thing I'm going to do is to make it go back up every time instead of just getting stuck when it gets to the bottom. So, and to do that, we're going to go to the control and pick if then block. We're going to go to operators. But before then, look at this Y. You can see now our Y here says -214. So it means that the mouse is already at the bottom. And for us to check if the mouse is already at the bottom, we're going to go to operators and pick this shape that says we should input a number less than. So what we're going to do now is to say -170, and then go to motion, and then we go to Y position, and then when we have that, now say inside this if then block, we should go to, so still in motion, go to pick set Y to 180. So this 180 means that it is at the top, and this -170 means that it is at the bottom. Now I'm going to go back to events and pick when green flag clicked. I'm going to stop that and then try it again. Oh wow. Okay, so let me put it inside the forever block. That is why it did not work. So let's stop this and try it again. And as you can see now, the mouse is coming down repeatedly. So I did not add go to random position. That is why it is just stuck in a single place. So I'll go to motion and then go to random position inside here, and as you can see now, it is moving to random positions in our screen. Now the next thing to do is to catch the object. So we want this sprite 1 cat to catch this mouse 1, and to do that we're going to have to detect the falling object when it touches the cat. So go back to control and we pick if then block again. And then we go to sensing and pick this touching mouse pointer and we put it inside here. And when we do that, now the next thing we need to do is that when this mouse touches this cat, we want it to go back to the top. So we're just going to have to duplicate this code and put it inside here. And then we're going to have to pick the forever block again, not like this, not like this. And then go to events and pick when green flag clicked. Now I'm going to stop this and play it again. Okay. Oh, you see where the error is. So in my touching, if touching, I left the mouse pointer there instead of sprite 1. Now I'm going to click on it again, and when I come here, you can see, can you see that it just goes back to the top? It goes back to the top. Can you see that? Now the next thing we need to do now is to just add a score variable, so that for every time our cat catches the mouse, we add we see a score, and it is going to, we're going to be adding 1 for every time the sprite 1 cat catches the mouse. So I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to go to variables, make a variable, I'm going to call it score. Okay. Then on this particular one that says if touching sprite 1 is where we're going to add our change my variable by change my variable by. Instead of earlier I've been forgetting to change the content, so this time I am aware and I will change it to score. Then I'm going to come to set my score to 0. So for every time the game starts, it starts at 0, and then when the cat catches the mouse, it adds 1 to this 0. Now I'm going to retest the game, and can you see that? And that is how to build a catching game in Sprite, in Scratch rather. And that is it. You've just made a complete catching game in Scratch. You learned how to move sprites, make things fall, detect collisions, and keep score. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fun Scratch projects.